So it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.
Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour. Lots of people in here early this morning. I see L 1978 grilling. Awesome. Good morning, mods. L's got a channel. If you guys haven't got over there, make sure you click her actual wrench and go right to her page and subscribe. Got a few things we're going to be going over here this morning. Again, like we said, trying to do a daily morning show, folks. All right. As I get better at it, I'll kick it off. I'll have things preloaded, a few things from the week to play, and then we'll jump in roughly around 8 o'clock every morning. Some days Ben, some days Woodman, if it works out. And then as we move forward, other things. We're going to get to call-ins. People can call in on their way into work. We'll take some calls, stuff like that. Maybe not so much this morning, but again, it's just trying to get everything set up in a scramble. I was trying to get this up and running at 7:30 and then do what I had to do and then be back by 8, but it just didn't work out. Seems like the time flies by really, really, really fast in the morning when you're trying to do stuff. All right, we're going to start off our morning here with a little bit of Twitter trolling for Friday morning. All right, so again, welcome to the Patriot Tech. If you're new, if you're coming over from the Patriot Hour, make sure you're subscribed. And good morning to all patriots. All right, so here we are. If you're, again, not following us on Twitter, make sure you get one. We just hit 12,000 followers. I've really never posted much on here for the first 6 months, just whatever YouTube was doing. I had it linked. YouTube about 5 months ago got rid of this feature where, I'll explain it. You used to be able to click these little things, and then when I'd post a video on YouTube, it'd automatically get remoted out to these platforms. YouTube quit doing that. It was too easy for you to spread your stuff off by, you know, you had to take the time to set it up in the beginning. But so now when you post a video on YouTube, after the video is posted, you have to you can share it to multiple, you know, you have to click each one and then hit do it. Click Twitter and it'll create like a Twitter, what it's going to post over to Twitter for you, and you have to hit yes, tweet it. So, you know, Tumblr, Pinterest, we do a lot of those. So anyway, most of the things on Twitter for us are just our video feeds, a link to YouTube with a little bit of the title. And about the last 4 or 5 months, I've been engaging a little more. It's fun. You can follow along with POTUS or anybody. I like to follow along with Chuck Schumer and all these crazies because it comes across the feed pretty well, and you can see day in and day out when they're losing their mind. It's kind of fun. All right, so I put this one yesterday, Liberal Logic 101. You got a caulk gun, or just a caulk tube, and then down below is the gun. It looks like an assault caulk. It makes the caulk look very scary. You got the pistol grip, the selector switch, the collapsible stock, the assault caulk sitting in the chamber, and even a little bayonet up in the front here. It's dangerous in the wrong hands. I don't know. It's fucking hilarious to me. It's just truly hilarious. And then again, I considered selling my weapons back to the government buyback program, but after intensive background checks and thorough investigation of buyer, there's no way, even on a cold day in hell, that would happen. With a long train-like list of abuses and inhumane acts against humanity. Just think about that for a minute. I got this picture actually in the mail. I'm sure they're kind of mass-produced, but still it's really cool. To Michael, thank you for all your steadfast support of the Republican National Committee. You are continuing leadership in vital Republican victories in the 2019-2020 presidential election. Now, that is a true photo, folks. I mean, it's the paper on the back even. It's a legit photo paper, but it's pretty cool. It can be framed. A couple Secret Service lurching behind them. Very cool. The 2019 American Legion Freedom Ride. Check that out if you haven't. It's just a little glimpse of what we just had happen early August, mid-August. CNN, the research found that vegetarians and vegans had a 20% higher risk of stroke than meat eaters, particularly hemorrhagic stroke. This translates to 3 more cases per stroke per 1,000. Wow. The Immigration Law Institute's Christopher Hijack says the Supreme Court has to look at whether DACA is lawful. What they are looking at now is whether Trump's rescission of DACA is lawful. Most consider lawfulness of DACA itself. Looks very odd that the president doesn't. Have the discretion to end the program that President Obama began in his discretion. The program wasn't unlawful to begin with. The program was unlawful to begin with. That's what I'm thinking. Okay, I think it's very unlikely that SCOTUS is going to have issue another order reinstating what it is believes an unlawful program. DACA is unlawful. President Obama never had the legal right to sign DACA. He indicated so at the time of signing. But in any event, how can we have the right to sign and I don't have the right to unsign? Totally illegal document, which would have given the president new powers. That's very interesting. Shut it down. Unlawful laws are the worst. Subverted the country. D-Class ASAP. Come on. For the people. All right, so a little bit of Trump. Why is this not working? Hold on here. Catch up to the tweets. Yeah, I wanted to do a little shout out for Watchful here. All right, Watchful Warrior. If you guys know, they got a great channel going on. You got Watchful Warriors channel. Then they have started a Patriot Lounge. I've been able to make it there a few times. Great little hangout, Patriot Lounge. Make sure, again, that involves Amy the Mod. Get to her channel. Watchful Warrior Greg, great channel. Make sure you're subscribed. And we got, I haven't seen Watchful in a few days, so we've been asking. We asked yesterday, and then I got Watchful Warrior update. He was enjoying his weekend on Labor Day, and it just looks like there was an accident. I don't want to get into details. That would be up to him or those a little closer to him. But there was an accident, folks, and it, just something at home. Sounds pretty bad. He had to get a little surgery, ambulances, a little surgery, and that might have been something he had lined up. It just might have. I think it was his back. So I don't know if this is exactly to do with his back. A little bit of information there, but just basically know that he doing all right, I guess. He not happy that he's stuck in a hospital. Who likes to be stuck in hospitals, especially over our awesome weekend that we just had. I don't know about where he was at in the weather, because I know he's Georgia, but send him some prayers. Let's all send him some prayers this morning, and really hope that he's back. We miss his programming. We don't want anyone in the truth movement to, we want them to have great days and not be down like that, basically. All right. So let's send some prayers and hope that he's back in speedy recovery. Good morning, Amy the Mod. We got the, again, lots of good mods in here. Elle and Amy. I think I saw Grillin. Yes, I got Grillin. All right, we're going to go through a few more tweets here, trolling on Twitter, and then we'll get to a few articles, a couple headlines. Unbelievable. I'm just stuck in a Trump tweet here. Hold on. All right, we got American Airlines mechanic is accused of sabotaging a flight over stalled union contract negotiations. There you go, folks. That's my worst fear. Every time I even look at a plane, I just don't feel the safety standards are up to par around the country. I feel like there's a lot of people that don't do their job. I mean, I know there's lots of great people that do, but then you got these stories like that. American Airlines mechanic accused of sabotaging a flight because his contract didn't go so well with the union. He didn't get that $1 more an hour he wanted, or a little bit better health insurance. I'm gonna sabotage a plane. Lock that guy up. Lock him up. Bernie slander. Killing 40% of blacks with abortion, not enough for Bernie. That's interesting. Bernie Sanders isn't satisfied with abortion, killing 40% of the black population. It's just not enough, is what he's saying. Killing 40% of the black population in America in a womb isn't enough for Bernie slander, said Sebastian Gorka, host of American First and Breitbart News alumnus. In a Thursday interview on Sirius XM's Breitbart News Daily with host Alex Marlow, Senator Bernie Sanders expressed support to restrict human procreation, to curb population growth. Gorka said 40% of black population in America in the womb isn't enough for Bernie slander. What should it be? Should it be 60%? Should it be 80% of all African Americans conceived in this country be killed? What would be enough? Should it be 90%, Bernie? Gorka linked Sanders' call for government controls over population numbers with Margaret Sanger's eugenic vision. This is where it gets frightening, Gorka added. When Dinesh that guy's well known too, Dinesh D'Zoa, I can't remember say his name, released his last film, he charted and does chilling reconstructions of documented Nazi Party meetings. We have the minutes in which key leaders of the Third Reich are praising Margaret Sanger, the progenitor of Planned Parenthood. She basically, like that Margaret Sanger, her words and stuff are all throughout the Planned Parenthood, their mission. So Gorka continued in the meeting. They read out letter from Adolf Hitler, where Adolf Hitler says to the party, "We need to send a letter to Margaret Sanger in America praising her for her eugenics work." This is chilling. This is the end result of philosophy of the left today. Mother Gaia. That lowly squirrel is more important than human beings. We're overpopulated. Therefore, we need to kill more of them. Think about that, folks. Think about that. It is evil, Gorka declared. This is the fascinating, twisted nature of American politics today. We have one side that is doing what totalitarian regimes have always do, which is to dehumanize the other. The party that speaks for tolerance, inclusivity, multiculturalism, openness to other, that is the party that says 5 million innocent Americans, because they're members of an organization that stand up for Second Amendment, must be treated as a domestic terrorist. Ain't that about the truth? Isn't that about the truth? Let me see here. All right, we're going to jump over to a few headlines here. Okay. Alert. Dems are about to destroy America dinner time with what they want to ban next. Uh-oh. Let's take a look. See what they're wanting to ban now. What is it? Steak knives or forks? Now they're starting to make me angry. No one messes with my dinner. Little story from Gary. Coming for our meat might be okay to some, but what the hell is Barack Obama going to use to snort his cocaine if they ban straws? Now they're coming out after our meat. On Wednesday night, CNN aired 7 straight hours of Democratic believing how they are going to battle global warming junk science. 7 straight hours. During her time slot, Democratic Camille Harris called for banning plastic straws and passing government incentives for Americans to eat less meat. Kamala Harris, I think that point that you are raising in a broader context is that a nation, we absolutely have to have a real priority of the highest level of government around what we eat and in terms of healthy eating, because we have a problem in America. The answer is yes. Let me say a balance that we have a strike here, that we have to have a strike here, frankly, is what the government can and should do about creating incentives and banning certain behaviors. Just to be very honest with you, I love cheeseburgers from time to time. I just do. And there has to be also what we do in terms of creating incentives, and that we'll eat in a healthy way, and that will encourage moderation, and that will be educated about the effect of our eating habits on our environment. Yeah. So now Democrats want to ruin the coal industry, the oil and gas industry, and now the beef industry. But remember, it's for your own good. Have you seen one of these meatless wonder Democrats? If not, I suggest you read this. Opens a new window. I'll eat takeout or Soylent for 99% of my meals. The Democrats can't make all the men homosexual enough, fast enough. To get men out of the way, they are trying to turn us into this freaking guy. That's the Vox journalist who eats Soylent regularly. He looks like a picture of health and classic example of toxic masculinity to me. Eat your damn tofu, and I'll eat my steak. I don't really care about the plastic straws, but you all had better clear that with the boss. I'd imagine Obama would be angry about losing his cocaine-snorting utensils, as straight man would be about the Democrats taking his steaks. Hands off my steaks, you freaking communist. Yeah, I'm about tired of these frickin' losers. All right, this guy here. Yeah, I'll call you. You know, you're a frickin' freak, dude. I'll say it to your face, nose to nose. I don't even know if I'd get that close to you, because I don't know. I don't know why these people always get these soy burgers and shit, and they always have to try to get them into the shape of a burger. Just eat the shit for what it is. If it's a plant from the get-go, just eat the plant. Why take that plant, mock it down, grind it up, and then try to make it into some kind of like steak burger or make it look like a burger? They don't like burgers, so why are they trying to make things look like burgers? It really blows my mind, the whole damn thing. Keep it in its natural state. Weirdos. But hey, you know, they're entitled. Following the short ban, Down syndrome drag show returns to the stage in a bigger venue. South Carolina lawmakers write letter to President Trump urging him to oppose red flag gun control. Unbelievable. All right. Let's see here. All right. I see Ben in the studio. There he is. We got Ben in here. What's going on, brother?
Good morning, Michael. Good morning, Patriots.
What is going on, Patriots? I see Woodman's in the chat now, too. I'm looking.
I was watching a little bit earlier when you were going over that the article with the food, and I mean, man, it really hit home. I mean, because America is the fattest country on earth, and I'm not saying that just to degrade Americans. But we literally are. How many food studies have there been to where Americans have too much cholesterol? We have too much body to fat weight ratio. We don't exercise enough. You're going over the food. Well, the genetically modified food that's not really food. It's crazy. It's crazy the stuff they're trying to do to us. And you're right. They are. They're too much soy. It's amazing how much soy is in everything. And
too much of anything, you know, but it's
too much of anything is going to be bad for you. Well, didn't we were talking in Garage Talk a few days ago about the food pyramid and how it's always been inverted our whole entire lives.
Yes.
They told you the very base, eat a whole bunch of bread. You should be basically eating bread all day. Then after breads and grains, there's what? Fruit and vegetables. And that's a little bit, or no, excuse me, there's just dairy, right? Or whatever. A little bit of dairy, whole bunch of bread, a whole bunch of dairy. And at the top, eat somewhat fruits and vegetables. And the very, very top, you have meat, just a little tiny bit of meat a day. Like, we shouldn't be living off of bread. Like, people are allergic to bread. You know, like, that's funny. It's wow.
That's crazy.
Now, we talked about that when I first moved to this part of the country in Middle America. I found out what feed corn is for the first time in my entire life, and I had no idea what it is. I just was like, "This is awesome! There's corn everywhere, man. Well, you'll never go hungry here. If ever it's something happening, just go out to the fields, eat the corn." And the farmers looked at me and started laughing and laughing. So that's feed corn, son. You don't eat no feed corn. And I was all like, corn? You can't eat it? It's not edible? Oh, no. How does that happen? Well, you see, we take it and we mix other DNA in there to make it grow in the middle of the desert. And it's not good for humans to eat that. Mm-hmm. It was very interesting.
Yeah, it's good for the animals or something, that's what they use. A feed corn, they'll give it back to the cow or the horses or something.
Humans' digestive system cannot properly digest food corn and thus would cause poisoning to us. That feed corn is actually blended with like other animal DNAs to make a special kind of corn. And so it only has enough nutritional value for animals such as cows and this nature that has 4 stomachs to be able to digest it. It was just interesting stuff. I mean, stuff you don't really ever realize until you kind of look around your surroundings.
Deborah the Mess.
If cows eat GMO and you eat the cow, are you eating GMO? Slim Frank. Slim Frank, you just explained biomagnification. So let's go through that. You just bit halfway. If cows eat GMO and we eat cows, are we eating GMO? Yes. Just like if you eat, let's say you eat a bear, but the bear ate a wolf that ate a squirrel, that squirrel, ate a rabbit that ate a squirrel that ate a bug. You're eating a bug, a rabbit, or a bug, a squirrel, a rabbit, a wolf, and a bear all in one. That's why there are some animals that only eat from the troposphere or the green. They only have greens. Like cows, traditionally, if humans don't feed them bad food, they'll eat what? Grass, hay, more grass, more hay. It's just interesting what they're putting in our food. I mean, you were talking about that one guy who has his daily dose of soy every day. Like
90% of his food he eats is 90% of it's soy based.
So he's basically eating beans all day. He's a bean eater.
And he's all yellow and jaundiced looking.
Real jaundice, huh? I bet you his thought process is real sporadic and not really firing on all cylinders. Joanne Basta, there you go. These people eat babies and they want to tell me what to eat? I don't think so. That's a great
Former
point.
AG offers blunt response to O'Rourke's plan for mandatory gun buyback. It won't happen. Which is good. So, a former acting attorney general gave his blunt response to former Representative Beto O'Rourke, Democrat out of Texas, plan for mandatory assault weapon buyback. So this guy's to the point now where he's screaming, if I win, I'll do a mandatory buyback of assault weapons if elected president.
By force is what he's trying to say.
During an interview with Fox News at night, former acting attorney general Matthew Whitaker was asked by host Shannon Bream for his thoughts on how the assault weapon buyback plan would go over in America, such as what the former Texas congressman proposed. Whitaker's response was blunt. It won't happen.
Yeah, you get him, Whitaker. You tell him how it is.
He went on to say there's clear-cut ways to curb violent crimes, such as better policing and neighborhood watch programs in cities across the nation, and torched the Democrats as being unwilling to put them into place. That's interesting.
You know, a good old neighborhood watch. That's something that harkens from when I was a kid. You know, all your dads, or moms or whatever, they'd come and usually they'd be gossiping as they're walking the streets of your neighborhood and saying, okay, and they go, all right, we're good to go. Yeah, we need more of those. We need more good Americans, is what he's trying to say.
Police yourself, is what he is.
Police yourself.
Remove yourself.
Police yourself into the future.
Into your own future.
It's crazy. It's crazy what they're trying to propose.
So, NFL started to be smeared for appearing in a video promoting Bring Our Bible to School Day. Well, he's not allowed to have his own, You can kneel during the flag, and then everyone's like, it's not about the flag. Well, that's what's going on at that moment. There's something else he's doing. Wasn't it a little...
Why don't you do it on his own damn time?
Yeah. Why don't he kneel before he comes on the game? Before he comes to the stadium?
Yeah.
Well, then he wouldn't get no attention.
So is...
Look at this guy. This guy done something else on his own time. NFL star Drew Brees smeared for appearing in a video. I'm sure the video was on his own time, promoting Bring Your Bible to School Day. They didn't like that.
Amen to that. I can get behind that.
Well,
former Super Bowl winning NFL quarterback Drew Brees is getting hammered by the fake news media for his Christian beliefs, as he's participating in a public service announcement for focusing on the family, has sparked this week's leftist outrage du jour. Bree,
tell us more.
Tell us more. Breeze, a future Hall of Famer who plays the New Orleans Saints, appeared in the video produced by the FOF promoting Bring Your Bible to School Day for October 3rd.
It's kind of like Johnny Cash's Bring Your Gun to Town, but this is Bring Your Bible.
Yeah, don't bring your Bible to school, type thing. The secular left, desperate to keep the truth of God out of the public square, has Breeze set in their sights over his participation in this event meant for students to share their wholesome beliefs with their colleagues. One of my favorite verses in the Bible is 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. For we live by faith, not by sight. So I want to encourage you to live out your faith on Bring Your Bible to School Day and share God's love with your friends. You're not alone, Bree says in a video posted in FOF's Facebook page.
Wow.
No, I mean, well, what is surprising is that the here, can you look around just a little bit? There you go. Yeah. Is the anti-bullying advocate support of religious groups known to be one of the most well-founded anti-LGBT organizations in the country, wrote Big Easy Magazine in a blog. They are leading a hashtag campaign against him on Twitter, urging others to post the hashtags Saints Don't Hate and Isn't It True, Drew, to shame all of the all-time football great. FOF has opposed the legalization of gay marriage since the founding in 1977. The organization's founder, a popular evangelical James Dodson, had said that same-sex relationships undermine the future generation's understanding of the fundamental principles of marriage, parenthood, and gender. And I agree with that statement 100%. 100%. I think there's more than just a gay marriage that break down the future generation's understanding. He goes on to say, in recent years, the mainstream of child abuse in the form of LGBT education at public schools and predatory grooming operations at public libraries have shown that Dodson's fears were more than justified. The accuracy of Dodson's prognosis has stopped him from being labeled a hate monger by critics.
Prognostications has stopped
Prognostications.
Yeah, okay.
Sheesh. Breeze has not responded to the criticism with a public statement. He has been an evangelical Christian throughout his entire adult life and owes his personal and professional success to his acceptance of Jesus Christ as his Savior. I remember sitting in church on my 17th birthday, he said in an interview with Christian Sports Page. I was locked in the pastor, and he was talking about how the Lord was looking for a few good men to carry on his kingdom, to spread his word, and to live the life that he had planned for them, and that spoke to me. I accepted Jesus Christ in my heart, and I knew that there was something bigger planned for me than just sports, he added. The vicious fake news media and the anti-Christian socialist movement they represent will not stop until every believer in Jesus Christ is subjected and maybe even imprisoned for sharing their beliefs.
Wow. Subjugated. Yes.
Wow.
Wow. So the
This is crazy. This is a guy who's,
anti-Christian socialist movement they represent will not stop until every believer in Jesus Christ is subjugated and maybe even imprisoned for sharing their belief.
All they got to do is just make religion a hate speech. If you talk to talk to somebody about your religion, you'd be considered hate speech. And so there's many ways that they can pretty much start to tear down. Again, that's freedom of religion, freedom to practice religion, freedom to gather in groups and have our religious practice, freedom to speak, these kind of things.
Yeah, and everyone acts like, oh my God, we have that freedom, but we also have that, Second Amendment, the First Amendment, and they're already tearing those away as well. So we know that they're on this mission. It's like, our Second Amendment, and it's like, well, unless we think that you shouldn't have one. They just come up with these little, it's a scary road, folks, to be traveling down, where you're losing your first, your right to free speech or the right to bear arm.
How about the right to assemble for more than two people in one place? The right to protest. Yes.
Also, this is kind of breaking. I mean, it's been all over. That Balsley Ford, her whole mission now, they got some leaked tapes from her lawyer or something. Kristen Balsley's lawyer, even her own lawyer, claims her client's stunt was done in part to protect Roe versus Wade. This was her mission. Like, I really can't let this guy come in and do it. So they made it all up, and their whole point was to make sure that he got the asterisk next to his name. That way everyone knows for here on out in the future, through history, that he had a asterisk next to his name, which means it came with his election came with great stuff around it.
So would that mean would he be a conflict of interest or anything like that in certain cases because this asterisk of saying, this person is not this, or
nope, it's just like if your name was in something, normally like in a high school they might have an asterisk next to somebody's name, and then you go to look at the legend and it tells you, they're the valedictorian. So if you know that the asterisk means something for their cases and the books for us, it just means that it came with a taint. There was something that their election process wasn't smooth.
Now, if you can go back to that picture real quick on there, I just find it interesting. The picture of Balsley Ford, I just think it looks like a man. Look at her pointer finger to the ring finger ratio. Like, that's like a man's hand. I just think it's interesting because they're trying to push this Roe versus Wade, and we know that Roe lied at that exact Roe versus Wade and actually became a Christian in life. She recently died later on, but she confessed, like, look, I was never raped, it never happened, I was pushed to say all this, there was an agenda, and she even said that it's kind of funny that
hers was almost the same thing. This Balsley Ford here, like, everything she did didn't really happen. It was all for they found somebody to play the game. Yeah, they found somebody to do what they wanted to do. And here, let's take a listen, because I watched this.
I find that her name Balsley kind of sounds like she's got a Balsley. Real Balsley.
It's real Balsley of her.
I want to know, didn't this lady work at some type of some university where they specialized in like psychological they were doing something with the mental
Aftermath
mind
of
or
these
something.
hearings, I believe that Christine's testimony brought about more good.
Yeah, so this
Aftermath of these hearings, I believe that Christine's testimony brought about more good than the harm misogynist Republicans caused. You all know. You all know.
Come on. Fine, go.
Aftermath of these hearings, I believe that Christine's testimony brought about more good than the harm misogynist Republicans caused by allowing Kavanaugh on the court. We were going to have a conservative. Elections have consequences. But he will always have an asterisk next to his name. When he takes a scalpel to Roe v. Wade, we will know who he is, we know his character, and we know what motivates him, and that is important. It is important that we know, and that was part of what motivated Christine. You all know.
You all heard it right there. She said it. This is her lawyer. This is Christina Ford's lawyer, Deborah Katz. Says putting an asterisk next to Kavanaugh's name in the case Kavanaugh attacked Roe versus Wade is part of what motivated Christine Ballsy Ford. So this is her own lawyer.
What motivates him, and that is important. It is important that we know, and that was part of what motivated Christine.
That's part of what motivated her. All because of political reasons, folks. So now we're finding out, and a lady like that, she's not going to get off on the little mental instability issue. And no, she needs to be locked up. Key thrown away. I don't know. But
yeah, no, again, I'm skeptic about whatever's presented to me because, we knew that we need to get a constitutionalist in the Supreme Court. We need to have a sitting judge that believes in the Constitution and at least has disseminate justice based on that. When you got people like Ballsy Ford coming out saying these things, looking like she does, he, who knows these days, man? I mean, this all could be a crazy psyop. And the fact that, it was a big, huge dog and pony show. Came of it. He still got this. He just got a mark on it. And it was almost like, why are they doing this? Well, there's an agenda they're trying to push. And this is a huge one that, that they don't want this guy to get up on there. And they'll do anything to take it. And nobody got in trouble. Nobody got in trouble. She don't normally, like, you have something called defamation of character. She publicly accused a man of raping her, and it was false.
Yeah, and nobody can verify it. Only her. It was only her in her head.
Only her.
There's 15 other people there, and all of them say, no, that didn't happen. Well, they're all wrong. It's a scary, scary little world.
Let's see what this...
Chuck Schumer demands free health care for more illegal migrants. Now, it's just funny because while Obama was busy making all of us pay, and then if you didn't, you got fined at the end of the year for not paying.
Yeah.
But they're talking about give more free to these people, which is crazy. So Democrat Senator Chuck Schumer is urging President Donald Trump to provide more American health coverage to care for illegal migrants. Schumer demanded comes just after Trump's deputies quietly agreed September 2nd to allow at least 1,000 illegals to stay in the United States so they can receive expensive health care for a variety of lethal, enduring, and debilitating diseases. But the Labor Day announcement also suggested officials would try to reduce the future approvals of deferred action for sick foreigners.
Jeez.
Chuck Schumer, he tweets, "This half measure by the Trump administration isn't enough. The Trump administration must pledge to continue his critical protection for children and families being treated for serious illnesses like cancer, cerebral palsy, cystic fibrosis, blah, blah, blah." So this half measure by Trump administration isn't enough. Schumer responded by the tweet. The Trump administration must pledge to continue this critical protection for children and families being treated for more serious illnesses like cancer, cerebral palsy. Okay. We just read that, so unbelievable.
I just think if you're illegal, you have no life, limb, or eyesight, and cancer, cerebral palsy, cystic fibrosis, none of that stuff should even matter. I think we shouldn't do anything, but yet they're like, oh, we need health care. So what? Now we're gonna have an onslaught of Canadians coming down here for all their health care needs because socialized health care in Canada is pretty shitty, right? I mean, we know that for a fact. I just think
it's funny that people that don't know anything about the border, like your typical neighbor or somebody that's on Facebook, and they're like, this administration's so horrible for locking these people up and separating them from their kids. And then I'd love to just grab them by their ring of their shirt collar and take them down to the border and be like, all right, you start engaging with these people running across. And they would go up to one person, stop a family. All right, stop. And start looking at stuff. And I'm like, all right, here you go. You guys have a nice day. It's like, did you check to make sure that guy belonged, the kids belonged to him? Oh, I didn't think about that. And then they look, and then you find out with a quick DNA snapper they do on your finger in about 10 minutes. This DNA doesn't match them. That's not the parents. That guy's like maybe kidnapped them out of Mexico. And then they get an opening to it like, oh, and now we know that's 30% at the border.
Yes.
30% is not matching up. That's a staggering amount. And to be like, well, 70% do match up, Mike, and you just got to let them go. And it's like, yeah, but how do you determine that? Without stopping and making sure you capture. This is just the ones we're getting, by the way. We don't know true numbers. But, man, that's alone doesn't we talk about having a jar full of jelly beans and 1,000 jelly beans, one of them being poisoned, it's like 30% of an issue. 30% of what's coming through doesn't belong. That's staggering. And to act like just screw it, just go, just let them go, just let them get in. I mean, they're just trying to live. And it's like, well, isn't that kidnapping and all these things we don't like here? You don't want nobody to come take your kids and take them across the border into another country, do you? No. Why are we allowing that then? Well, so to me, that's a staggering issue alone that makes you want to just stop everything you can and look at everything a little bit closer, figure things out, and everyone just wants to blow over that issue. The other article I was reading was talking again about, killing off, how they're aborting so many kids, and 40% isn't enough for the Democrats. 40% of the African American community alone is what's getting offed at the Planned Parenthoods. Mm-hmm. They pitched this, the world's overcrowded, and we've talked about that. You can take all the world, 7 trillion people. Is billion, 7 billion,
like 7.7 billion
now, going on 8 billion. Put them in the state of Texas. Everyone could have an acre. All 8 billion people can have an acre in the state of Texas. That's how big Texas is. Live comfortably. Yes. I thought the way that they pitch it, if you brought everybody, all 7 billion, 7.7 billion into the United States, that we'd be stacked from here to the moon. The way I took it to be from listening to these idiots.
The way their propaganda was. Well, and that's why they try to pitch the global warming due to human whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. There's no overcrowding. There's no such thing. In fact, our Earth is so incredibly large and can produce so much food naturally without the help of man that 7.7. Think about it, people. 30 years ago, they said if we went to over 2 billion, 3 billion people, that we would all die because the Earth couldn't produce that much food. I mean, it's all a hoax. It's all a crazy shill game to look over here while we're doing something over here.
You look over here, and then our other hand's behind your back pocket, robbing you blind.
Stabbing you in the back. It's like. And so if they're doing this when it comes to testimonies, bringing people, I mean, I know personally, firsthand, what it's like for someone to publicly accuse you of something that you did not do. Not like a bunch of your friends. I mean, like on court record, like being accused of what you didn't do. That's what happened to Justice Kavanaugh. Publicly on record, he was known, now it wasn't true, but he was known as a rapist. People who didn't know much and just saw the news here and there, oh, you hear this guy? He's going to be Supreme Court Justice, and he's like a sex-crazed rapist. He just can't help himself. Maybe we need to make him a eunuch so he can not do that no more. I'm like, So it's very interesting, and this is where we talk about, even with yesterday, where people parrot what they hear right after they hear it, and then make it sound like it's their own. They've done all the research on it. It is interesting.
Yeah.
And I had a couple comments in there when I was talking about Ballsy Ford looking like a woman because of her skeletal structure. Research it, people. Don't be ignorant. Don't just be like, I don't have that. Not all. Just look. I'm always skeptic. I'm just a skeptic person. That's all. I've been lied to so much about TV, movies, mainstream.
Well, and it's just
Mike
like,
and I are
you
breaking it
know,
down.
what if we all come to find out? Now, I can't prove it. Like Ben said, there's certain things that he looks for. Now, does he have 100% proof that she is? No. He's just saying that it kind of looks like it to him. And that could be just a woman that looks like a man. We have that as well. That exists.
Yeah,
but we also have
too.
Caitlyn Jenner's. You know, we're going to find out with Obama. Is it really Michael Robinson or is it Michelle Robinson? I mean, there's a great history if you take that and go backwards with it and try to follow the lineage of Michelle. Where did she come from? Or Michael Robinson? What happened to him? And how come this guy, Obama used to hang out with a guy named Michael Robinson, but then ends up marrying this woman named Michelle Robinson that just so happens to all coordinate. I mean,
remember, we have more
so
questions
people
than
hear
answers.
That. It's like Mike or Obama's really married to a man named Michael. What? No, because he hasn't come out and told me that. That can't be true. No, it's a lie. But we know that, like, the Caitlyn Jenner thing. I mean, look how they, under the Obama, they took this man, put him on the cover of Swimsuit Edition and said that this is the best woman of the year award. But yet he kept his junk the whole time and is a woman. And I mean, that's really, they're doing something when they do that. They're doing something when they do that. So, they're trying to normalize it to the umpth degree. And then when it does come out that that was Obama and you know, that we had our first president that was this, married to a man, and blah, 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 that we should, you know, we're so desensitized by that point. I don't know. But,
you probably say, well, it's about time for us to get to the 21st century. And you're thinking,
yeah,
the whole game, if you remember, we've said many, many times, the deep swamp, the deep state, the, you know, the dark underworld belly of secret societies, their most powerful weapon is deception, because they get it from the evil one, and they know that, and that's the only thing they have. And so, you know, Mike and I always, like, even with the food article, reading about that and going into a lot of these other things, we're always understanding that the main goal of mainstream media or any information getting out from any mega source, their first one is to deceive you. Now, we're just trying to figure out how they're deceiving you, to kind of pick it apart and say, hey, look, by the way, they're doing this over here, or this could be that, or she looks more like a he, I don't know, but man, this doesn't sit right. This could be how they're propagating and brainwashing us and deceiving us. And that's where it takes, like, you patriots out there, your comments. I mean, we read the comments, we go back, look at the shows, even the live comments when we can't actually engage with you like this very moment in time because we're talking to you. We do learn a lot and we do research, but it's if we all thought that they weren't eating and sacrificing babies until they were showing pictures, and now we're all whipped up in a frenzy, what about those people who've been saying it for years and we just been calling them crazies? Like, that doesn't happen. They only did that in the Bible times. Just like I said, there's no slavery in 21st century. Just in the Bible times. No. And
again, now Ben's entitled to his opinion as much as I am in mine. You guys are is yours as well. So keep that in mind as well. We don't, you know, there is sometimes facts and things point to the facts and people will be blinded to that. But, you know, that's where we'll get a little bit of pounding it in. But how does this matter to you? You know, like we're talking about, why does it matter if this Palsy Ford was a man or something? Well, or Obama's, you know, husband, wife, whatever. Why does that matter? Well, that just goes back to the old adage of deceitfulness, flipping everything, making things that are, you know, perverting
good,
everything.
Bad, good type stuff.
You know, what about most of the people out there that thought for the whole 8 years that was a woman? And I was like, well, that's what they thought that's what they wanted you to think. And you thought that. Now you find out otherwise 9 years later after Obama's out of office. What does that mean to you? That he was pretty good at deceiving.
Maybe you're one of those. Yeah, maybe you're one of those guys who thought.
That's one thing.
Yes.
You know, and so it's like, whoa.
How many, you know?
Whoa, wait a minute here. That's what they wanted me to think, and I thought it. Don't feel so bad, but be aware. This is all we're trying to expose. Be aware of how these people operate. Why do they all have different names? Why is Barack Obama? Why not Barry Sotoros?
Barry Santos, yeah.
You know, all these other people, you know, Pete Buttigieg. Why not keep it Pete Johnson or whatever it was, you know, Bernie Sanders? I mean, they all have these other names. This is my stage name. This is my acting name. I'm going to go act like a person that cares. I mean, what the hell?
This
All
is
right,
my
we're going to take a
professional
quick
line
break.
name.
I got a couple of, you know, the Freedom Ride video, just about 8 minutes worth of video. We're at the hour mark. I'm going to get a little break in. I got to let the dog out, get a refill on the coffee. Give us 6 to 8
More bean
minutes.
juice.
Yep, a little bit of brown bean juice flavored water. And we'll be back at it here in a few minutes, folks. So stick around and enjoy.
Thank you for staying with us and getting on here, and Mike holding it down this morning and getting on. This is just a rocking time to be with you Patriots and the morning times. I really do feel we get a lot accomplished in the morning times with you Patriots.
It's a good part of the day for me, for sure. Brain's firing at all cylinders. So, all right, we'll be back in about 7 to 9 minutes, folks.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting here. I got time, it's clear to see. From up here, the world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
God bless. Chapel.
You and me were meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
Decide for yourself. Be free from outside opinion. Decide for yourself. Be objective in your conclusions. Decide for yourself. Be true in your own beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be open to following the facts. Decide for yourself. Be strong in defending your beliefs. Decide for yourself. Be resistant to blindly accepting factless statements. Decide for yourself and be free. Those who attack you, those who mock you, those who call you, those who control you, those who label you, do they represent you, or do they represent themselves in some form? Mental enslavement, the Great Awakening, freedom of thought, was designed and created not only as a back channel to the public, away from the long-standing mind control of the corrupt and heavily biased media, to endure future events through transparency and regeneration of individual thought, breaking the chains of groupthink, but more importantly, aid in the construction of a vehicle, a ship that provides the scattered free thinkers with a starter, a new social networking platform which allows for freedom of thought, expression, and patriotism, or national pride, the feeling of love, devotion, and the sense of attachment to a homeland and alliance with other citizens who share the same sentiment. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or the stable. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, groupthink collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding the truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. When you are awake, you are able to clearly see. The choice is yours and yours alone. Trust and put faith in yourself. You are not alone, and you are not in the minority. Difficult truths will soon see the light of day. Where we go one, we go all. Folks, it has been one of the greatest pleasures of my life running the Patriot Hour and meeting all of you patriots. You guys really are some of the greatest patriots a fellow's ever seen. Again, I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless, Godspeed to each and every one of you worldwide. Where we go one, we go all. Please like, share, and make a comment on this video. We're heavily shadow banned, so share while you can across all social media platforms. It helps beat the YouTube algorithm. You can manually share it where their algorithms are not. Thank you.
So it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.
Fighting for what's right. Fight for your
And
life.
your life.
Boom.
Ba-boom.
Bada
No,
bang,
it's,
bada boom.
Always question the information that's given to you. We always tell you, even here, don't believe what we say. Try to research what we say, connect your own dots, find the truth for yourself. And if we happen to be spitting our opinions on the information that's all public, we all have access to, this is awesome. This is what it's about. I mean, Mike has expertise. I have expertise. All you guys are a myriad of expertise. And that's why it's been an awesome adventure and experience. Because when we're kind of slightly off on some stuff, we'll get comments, emails, and say, oh, dude, I got this email. Check this out. And we'll spend a couple of days delving into something and like, should we do something about it? Or is this another eddy? We got to move on. So, yes, man, it's always a good thing.
And that's a good point, too, is don't let the people fight back against, or, push back against them. I don't mean fight. Don't throw your fist at them. I'm saying argue intellectually back. Don't let the person that sits there and watches 2 minutes of news and it gets spoon-fed auto-truth in his mouth, and then that's what he uses again. You who research for yourself, dig into things, come up with, well, did you know he went to Yale, and then from there he joined the secret service? All this great stuff that the person, you're a conspiracy. I'm the intellectual here because CNN gave me this. I ate it up this morning with my coffee, and who are you?
I feel really full. I'm about to regurgitate it out to you guys.
Yeah, unbelievable. Folks, let's just not forget Comey is going down, by the way. This is just hilarious that he even, I need an apology for crimes are coming. This Horowitz, this IG stuff, it's gonna be the undo. The timing is gonna be perfect. I mean, we're all well past cooked on waiting for this stuff, and it's just like,
oh yeah,
Trump must just be sitting there like, give it another week, let these people marinate, and just really set this shit in. So, the crimes are there. I mean,
and just because, Mike said it really eloquently, just because the mainstream news is not blasting it like the Uranium One. We heard about that. That's that's your other here's your sign type thing, right? The Uranium One went away and it was real quiet for many, many months, and it's almost like the public forgot about Uranium One and all this kind of stuff. But then it's kind of, remember, one of your last videos, the Patriot, the boomerang effect. Things are coming back around, and we just have to remember, because most humans, most people are very, very short-term fickle. The shiny object, boom, we're going there. So we've been over so much information in almost the last 2 years that it's almost an information overload for the average person to say, I've gotten all this information, what's going to be happening? When we know some of the first posts that Q ever came out with supposedly was like, Clinton's going down, she's going to be arrested, and all this stuff is going to be happening. And were they predicting or showing us their game plan for a year, 2 years in the future?
Is this October?
We don't.
Like
2020 or 2019?
Yeah.
It's like we're.
Did we get a 2-year mirror? I don't know.
It's been interesting. We've done everything from the Q clock, looking at that for the mirrors. But again, we're still going to be on top of what's happening every single day, because whatever does happen affects us on a public level. These little side eddies we get into, some of them are just good knowledge to have. I mean, it's you may think it's meaningless, random information, but if you notice the people who are always, like, what do they call them, the anons, these people who are constantly digging, they know a whole bunch about everything. Like, I'd rather be an expert in nothing and know a little bit about everything than be an expert in one thing and know very little about everything.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I would rather be in. And so that's Mike and I always try to
I'm
really
a jack
diversify
of all trades, a master of none.
A master of none. And that right there makes it very well-rounded, because when we say we're researching, think about that word, research. We're looking at what somebody else looked at, and so we're looking at what
I'm
they
done
looked
doing
at.
my research. I have researched. I know it all now. No, research never stops, because there's always something new, folks. Can't claim to, but just for, I know a lot of hope with people had been this Comey, and they're like, oh, no, there it is. We probably not us personally, the Patriot Hour, but the movement has probably lost
general.
people that have tapped into the thing like, ooh, this seems interesting. Like there's something brewing here. And in the past, you didn't have that happen. You'd have stories come out and you'd think, you don't really actually, if you didn't get anything from the media, you never even caught on to any of the crimes being done. You had to get some kind of little nugget of truth and then jump on that. And it's always been there for the Obama administration. There's been nuggets of truth by good journalists, and you could have followed those. And that's why we had great documentaries come out, Clinton Crimes, and these great people that write books, and they just didn't get the attention. I mean, Obama had locked up 18 or 12 different journalists in his 8 years for, getting classified stuff.
Reporting on stuff.
Yeah. Trying to shut them down. But even like we said, Comey coming out, it was all unprecedented. The way he came out in that summer of 16, right before the election. And like we said, folks, whatever system started, whether it was, I don't think Comey was a mastermind by any means. What did he have to gain or lose? Blackmail on him or whatever, but the order came from Obama, like, we're gonna do this, and they had like Comey involved and Peter Strzok and that Lisa Page. We see this fraction. We see the text between Strzok to Page, the lovers saying, hey, POTUS wants to know everything. He wants to be informed
Keep him
day
in the
to
loop.
day. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. You're not supposed to, the president's not supposed to be in tangent with the DOJ and on ongoing investigations. The president is deemed just like a citizen. They got an ongoing investigation. You don't share that info with anybody outside the group. You can give updates to probably the president and these people. You don't like. So we just left the Clintons' house. By the way, Obama, we found nothing. All right. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that was probably going on. Comey lays out the crimes that summer on TV and then goes on to say, but no prosecutor in their right mind would prosecute this stuff. That's my opinion, by the way, because you're not the one prosecuting. So therefore, that is an opinion, and that's unprecedented to do. You're supposed to turn over all the evidence the FBI found to the DOJ. Me and Ben were discussing this, right? Here's all the stuff we found. At the very bottom of all that, you have a summary, I imagine, and then you have that recommended charges line. None. Or treason, whatever you're recommending. He came out, named off all the crimes, and then named off that probably would be prosecuted. No smart prosecutor would do this, When we had over 1,000 prosecutors out in the real world look at the paperwork and say, yeah, we would have prosecuted, so we do have
in a heartbeat. Yeah.
Comey
wanted to plant
but no, they
that
didn't want
seed.
that. He didn't want, he named off the crimes. Wasn't good enough. But instead, at the same time, he's starting one into Trump to look for crimes. For over 2 years, they started something to look. Where around Hillary, they were tripping on the facts. You land tripping a puddle
falling
of
out of the
truth.
sky. You get the dirty truth all over your clothes walking into her environment.
Go to the dry cleaners to get that hung out. So in remembrance of that, we're going to kick off a little 2-minute thing here. Check this out, folks. You'll get the good. We've seen it all before, but it's hilarious.
Update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret. 36 of those chains secret. And 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, no regulations.
I'm a liar.
Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary,
Nothing
Liar.
was marked classified.
there is evidence that
Liar.
a tremendous amount.
Nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found.
Oh my gosh.
110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains
It was a mistake.
have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it
8
make?
of those chains are top
It wasn't
secret.
the best choice.
36 of those chains
I said
secret.
it was a mistake.
And 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
With respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains
I made a mistake.
have been determined to contain classified information. What difference at this point does it make? 8 of those chains are top
It was not a
secret.
good choice.
36 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contain confidential information. What difference at this point does it make?
I was bobbing my head like thinking,
make
deceiver, liar.
110
Oh.
emails, 52 email chains.
Some label top secret,
So-
and classified.
You heard it out of his own mouth. There was all that mountain of evidence that he was tripping over, picking it up as he was going to. I mean, just on your way to go talk to her, you're going to have like just in her yard picking up, tripping over evidence, putting it, Here, Miss Clinton,
I can
we found all
smell
this
the
on the way
evidence
into
everywhere.
your house here. Here you go. Would you like this back? You might want to hide this somewhere. No, wasn't good enough. He wanted to go hunting for evidence, and that's when he turned on to Trump. And we're going to look and find and dig and flip over no stone unturned. Clearly. I mean, how do you not see that injustice? And then for him to come out and write books about loyalty, a higher loyalty, all this crap.
Makes a little more money off deception, Hey, you write a book, you may get a lighter sentence and some good
Packaged
money
his
for smokes in
lies
prison.
and sold them.
With
Unbelievable.
a pretty cover.
folks. Yeah, he decorated it real nice. And we know you're watching, Comey. You scumbag.
Oh, Loney Comey, you dirtbag, full of dirt.
You are a dirtbag and a shipwreck. Let's take it to the street.
Oh, we wish we could be taking it to the streets.
Take it to the limit.
Yeah, it's. So you can see that, yes, we all know what's happening. We're all super, frustrated in certain ways because, like Mike and I, we always say it's bread and circus. And what do we mean by bread and circus? Well, when the Roman emperor was losing control of the public and they no longer loved him, what did he give them? Gave them loaves of bread to keep them fed, and he gave them the gladiators in the ring. He gave them entertainment to soothe their minds. They wouldn't think about logical things of what the emperor was doing with all of their money and all his evilness. And so the same thing happens today. We have great arenas pretty much in every state that has
Bread and
sports,
circus.
and we got welfare. If you make enough, and you'll still get fed. Don't worry. It's still the same idea, people. And when you start looking beyond the surface of our society, you start seeing some really crazy evil things. And that's why with Mike and I, we've always, like you guys, we've always been chomping at the bit to see these people go down. Like Trump defunding Planned Parenthood. That was a huge thing for the team here. We were like really ecstatic. That's never happened before in the history of Planned Parenthood. Human trafficking, all the stuff that, frankly, a lot of you believers out there have been praying for is now getting answered. And so if we looking at it in that light, mega things are happening. I believe our president is making America great. It was great once before. We had times of greatness. We had times of being not so great. And I think it's because of an outside hand pushing us down. And so now I think a lot of us are seeing it so clearly that it's almost a comedy to see some of these people as they're giving speeches, as they're doing this, in that video. Well, at this point, what difference does it make?
At this point, what difference does it make? So I'm pulling up some of my old. I'm just doing a search. I got.
We got to get into something
this out.
else because, stuff is happening while we're on air.
Yeah.
Yes, Sonny?
Yeah,
I have in front of me a letter that was drafted by 11 House Republicans.
I love this,
They've sent
by the
this
way.
letter to the Department of Justice and the FBI.
Yeah.
They are requesting a criminal investigation of you, Director Comey, as well as Hillary Clinton, Loretta Lynch, Andrew McCabe, FBI agents Peter Strzok, and FBI counsel Lisa Page. And it appears that they are alleging potential violations of the law
I'm
regarding
screwed.
the Clinton and Trump investigations. They're
Look at his
arguing
hands. He's
that
gonna start
your decision
signaling. He's starting
not
to
to
signal
seek charges
to his-
against Clinton
To his
for use
handler.
of a
Look at
private
it.
email server suggests an
little
improper
bit of pee came out in it,
investigative
Comey. You know, he
conduct
peed his pants a
potentially
little bit.
motivated
He had a
by
little,
just
a
couple sprinkles.
agenda.
Little turtle
It's
head out of
also
his
saying that you
rear
leaked
end.
classified
Possibly poking.
information.
Look
And
at
they
him, look
refer
at
to
him.
the 7 memos you wrote
Look at him.
about your conversations with the
Motherfucker.
president.
You had to do this on TV.
You were-
They're good. They're real good.
Respond in real time.
How do you
Sorry,
respond?
sorry, late night.
Well, you guys
I know.
got
I'm doing a
me.
lot of shrugging.
I try to shrug and give
And
handlers.
they
My
refer
handler's
to
not
the
watching
7
me.
memos you wrote about your conversations
Look at
with
him.
the
Look at
president.
him.
I'm
You
being
respond,
screwed.
respond in real
I,
time. I'm sorry,
um,
to
I know I'm
lay
doing a
that
lot
on
of
you.
shrugging today, but
I'm trying to signal, but nobody's looking. I'm on the hot
They've been
seat.
saying that stuff since the Clinton email investigation. A whole lot of that's already being looked at by the Inspector General at the Department of Justice.
I'm
which is a
freaking
very
out
good
right
thing.
now, ladies.
And
You really
I don't have any
scared
other
me. I
reaction.
peed a little bit today
The
in my
accusations
pants.
are not
Yes,
true.
yes,
I
in my
guess I
pants.
should have said that first, but
Accusations
Oh, I
aren't
forgot to
true,
say
by the way.
that.
Well, you're in good
I'm
company.
innocent, by the way. Should have said that first.
I don't have any other reaction.
Okay.
The accusations are not true. I guess I should have said that first.
Oh, let me
but-
say that again. Sorry, I forgot
That's
to
okay.
shrug one
Well,
more
you're in
time.
good company. There's a lot of people in there.
Yeah, but look, I have confidence in the institution.
Look at
of
that
the
evil
Inspector
witch
General,
laughing.
And maybe they'll, on the Clinton email investigation, maybe they'll criticize me, maybe they won't, but whatever they do, I believe in that institution. They hold people accountable, and that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be done by tweet or letters. Let's let the institution do its work.
Well, let me
Yes,
criticize you on
you're gonna be held
the
accountable.
Hillary Clinton investigation, because you said that you reopened
Okay, a little
the
bit drier
investigation
now,
into
not so
Hillary's
pee.
private email server 11 days
Oh,
before
crap.
the election.
Back at me?
Because, quote unquote, I was operating in a world where Hillary Clinton was going to beat Donald Trump. Now, should the FBI have taken it upon himself, on yourself, to guess who was going to win? I mean, that seems out of your purview. Like, oh, well, I'm listening to polls, and therefore this is how I'm going to behave. That doesn't sound right to me.
Yeah, no, and it's right. If that was what I did, I would have that same concern. What I explained in the book is I intentionally did not consider polls. In fact, one of my very best people, a woman in the general counsel's office, asked me, should you consider that what you're about to do may help elect Donald Trump president?
Yeah.
And I said, great question, but not for a moment, because down that path lies the death of the FBI as an independent force. If we ever start considering whose fortunes will be affected in what way, where that comes from in the book is, I'm trying to be tough on myself in the book and ask, could you have implicitly, even though you intentionally didn't consider it, could it have shaped you in some way? And the answer is, of course it could have. It wouldn't change the decision. I faced two terrible options. I could speak about restarting the investigation in a huge way, or I, in my view, could conceal that. Which do I choose of those? Speaking would be really bad, concealing would be catastrophic, and so I choose the least bad option, but not because if Donald Trump had been up 20 points in the polls,
I choose the least bad option.
I choose the
Folks,
least
for whatever
destructive
reason,
option.
if they came to the conclusion in July of 16 that Hillary did break email, did have classified information, did all this wrong stuff, to come out and publicly say that, at that point, the DNC had already propped her up. She was the number one ticket. Everyone else had, fallen out. They were done.
Shill was
In
shilling.
July, you get down to those two people. It was her versus Trump. And then to come out and say, Hillary broke a lot of laws. She's going to be going to jail. Her clearance says she's not fit to be president.
Anybody
That
else
was
want to step up on deck for this election?
ensuring Donald Trump's win, which he was winning anyway.
Of course,
but
the
that's-
FBI doesn't get meddled in that kind of stuff. It's, this is, he just told you in that little tiny interview on The View with a bunch of.
He puts himself
people
behind the FBI at that point. The FBI would never do something like, we know the good FBI wouldn't, but you did.
But yeah.
Again,
That's
I'll
when
say
the tinkle came out.
FBI don't do stuff like that. I know they don't.
FBI don't lie.
You are some kind of rogue coup d'etat fraction, rogue group, terrorist.
Look at here, Rambo. You ain't no one-man show.
Terrorists, basically. They are Rambo, First
The
blood.
framing
You
would
drew
be the
first
same,
blood,
and the choice would be the
motherfucker.
same.
So you were consciously thinking she's going to win.
No, I don't remember.
You're going
that.
down,
What I'm
right?
asking
Well,
in the
I'm a little
book is-
scared.
What you said to
Yes.
George Stephanopoulos?
How many
Well,
times
what I
have you
said
put
in
the
George
book?
Stephanopoulos, I
Look,
think
they're hitting him 8
everyone
ways
was
from
assuming enough
Sunday.
20
Watch
points
this.
in the polls,
No.
the framing would be the same, and the choice would be the same.
So you were consciously thinking she's going to win.
No, I don't remember that. What I'm asking in the book is,
Oh,
What you
I
said
don't
to
recall.
George Stephanopoulos?
well, what I said in George Stephanopoulos, I think, is everyone was assuming
think.
she was going to be elected.
Look, his mouth is left open
No,
from
I
the
don't-
last
actually
question.
don't
Watch.
remember that. What
Watch
I'm
right
asking
here.
in the book is-
Open
What you
mouth.
said to George Stephanopoulos?
Well, what I said in George Stephanopoulos, I think, is everyone was assuming she
I
was going to be
think.
elected
He always
president.
throws in that I
intentionally
think.
didn't think about that.
I
but
intentionally
because it was
didn't
part
think,
of
but
the
I think.
air, could that have
Air,
shaped my
I
thinking? Because it
agree.
was just an underlying assumption.
Oh,
And the
wow.
honest answer is, of course it could have. I intentionally
Oh, now it could have.
remember not
But you
thinking
intentionally
about that. But of course
not
it could. I'd be
thinking
a
about
fool
it.
to say it couldn't have had any impact
Now he's a
on me.
fool
But the
to
most
think
important
about
thing
it.
is, the
But-
answer would be the same. In my view, reasonable people can disagree. You have to speak in that situation, even though that sucks, because not
He needs a
speaking
cane
would
or
be
a staff
fraud
and a
on the
hat.
American people.
He's
and
a wizard.
concealing
He's trying
a
to
lie.
cast spells on
Let
you.
me
Look
ask you
at
this, because maybe you could have worded it differently.
Look at here,
Instead of
wizard.
saying you were,
When you speak to the public-
reopening the investigation, maybe it should have been, we got a whole bunch of new
This guy.
emails, and we just
Get
want
him,
to cross-check
Whoopi.
them to make sure that we're not missing
Get him,
anything,
Whoop.
as opposed to, when you say you're reopening.
We don't forget your Ted Danson blackface.
We don't forget that little thing, though.
Just saying, whoop.
Whoopsie.
Just saying, whoopsie. Little whoopsie doo. No Ted Danson blackface at
We
your
know all
Halloween
about
party.
you.
It was okay then, though.
Hey.
It was okay.
back
Real,
then.
real
Now it's different.
tasteless.
Investigation,
Tasteless.
it feels like, they must have found something else must be happening. And I think it might have gone to that, but also, you've done this to Republicans and Democrats. You've opened
Becker.
investigations that have pissed lots of people off. Why do you think this is pissing everybody off more?
Because we're doing
you've
it
pissed a
more.
lot. I mean, in listening to the book and remembering all of the presidents you served,
Yes, he's got a book.
the Bushes were not happy with you at certain points. Why is everybody now more? Have you changed how you've done stuff?
I don't think so. I think there's a
I
unique
still lie and
level of
deceive.
partisan
That hasn't changed.
division in our country.
I
far
lie a
greater than
little
when I
better
served
now.
in the Bush administration, and I think that is in part the explanation for the anger. People assume in our country, not all people, but most partisans assume everybody's on a side. And so they look at my actions, and every one of my actions they view through whose side is he on, whose team is he on, which is why the
You
Clinton
just
people
said
are
you're
mad at
not
me
on
and the
any
Trump people.
sides.
Both can't be true. I can't be on Trump's side and Clinton's side. But the truth is, I really worked hard not to be on anybody's side.
Yeah.
But that, in today's America, that's
You see, he
confusing
should
and
be saying, I'm on
infuriating.
both of their
And the other
side. I'm
problem
for the
is,
American
There was
people.
no opportunity to lay out, as I've tried to do in the book, look, here's what we thought about. Even if you think we're
There's
wrong,
that book
here's
plug
how we
again.
made
I'm
that
tired
decision.
of it.
Well, can I interject on that? Because I want to
And
believe
if you
you're
read
not
the
a
book-
political person.
He's-
You're the head of the FBI, but you write in your book about
There
how
you go.
went to President Obama and you were on the verge of
Get him,
tears,
girl.
saying you were
Verge
going to
of
miss him.
tears.
You also said that you were dreading the next 4 years with Trump. You
Aw,
said very incendiary
poor
things
guy.
about my party this morning. Doesn't reflect all values. It's transactional. It's ego-driven. It's in service
Here comes
to his
the pee
ego.
again a little
I'm
bit.
a
It's
Republican
coming
who
out.
has many issues
Oh,
with Trump.
he's pooping
that is
himself
not
a little.
reflective of my party as a
He's
whole.
a beta male.
The big
She's
issue,
a
I
little
don't
more
wanna
higher
make
than a beta
politics.
male as a
And lot of the
woman.
things
He's
you're
having an
saying in
issue
it
with her.
are
Look at
highly
it.
political, and I just don't understand what you gain trying to sort of clear the deck here by bringing things like
you
this
know
up.
what he has to
Yeah, that's a
gain.
good question. I don't think of it as my politics.
I don't think of it
as my
like you
values.
do or
What I
anyone
do is-
else.
And you talked about in George Stephanopoulos how she was at the Women's March and she was very sad on election night, and
Well,
you know,
that's his
and
life.
but why bring up politics now? No disrespect, but what your take on the current Republican Party is, I'm more
That's his
interested in what you
wife,
know
she
about
said.
national security.
I brought it
So
up because I was asked about it.
I know, but I don't.
Okay, there you go.
Real nice, real nice,
that's
Comey.
a
Real
good
nice
question.
move
I
there.
get that. The Republicans are
That's
thinking
right,
that.
Grillin. He's
But
prairie dogging
in the
it for
book,
sure.
I'm telling a story about the decisions that including
Another book
lots
Talking
plug.
about your interview
Jeez.
this morning, I'm ego-driven in service to Trump's
Stop
ego,
talking
which
about
doesn't
your
reflect
book.
values at all. I just don't understand why you're so.
Well,
you
again,
sound
in
like a
my
political
book in chapter
commentator to me.
3, I
Well,
break
don't
that
mean
psyche
to-
down.
I don't care whether people support a Republican or a Democrat, because I'm not either. I don't care who they support. I hope the conversation will start with values and come to policy second, because we're always going to fight about guns and taxes and immigration. But
No,
all
we won't
are
go
as this
there,
country is a
you
collection of
liar.
values, and that's what unites Republicans and Democrats.
Yeah.
Finally,
You
man,
write a
my
book from
handlers are
in
doing
the
their
jail
job.
cell, bro.
My time behind the bars. How I found.
And this is my shit right here.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah, this is
probably one of the most controversial.
And Anderson Cooper must have got paid a little bonus to do some of this early on stuff.
Well, you know, he's a Vanderbilt heir. Very
Likes to push
controlled.
buttons, and this is shaming 101, Illuminati.
A higher loyalty, truth,
This
lies,
is
and
one of the
leadership.
rituals.
A higher loyalty.
Questions from a lot of
Public
journalists. Well, tonight
shaming.
it is your turn. All
A
the
higher
questioners
treason.
tonight are students, faculty, and staff from William and Mary. The questions are all their
Oh,
own.
great.
I'll ask some follow-up questions as well.
No, they're
Let's get
not.
started.
Where's William and who's
Class of
Mary?
1982, double major in chemistry and religion, former FBI Director James Comey.
I wore diapers. Yes, thank you.
Did you wear a Depend?
Hey, you can't see him.
Did you wear a Depend tonight?
Well, a little squishy. All right.
Ego-driven is this narcissist as he sits on
We
stage.
got a lot of questions from students.
How's your handler
Let's get
doing?
right
I don't
to
know.
it. This
Mine's
is,
pretty good. And
Zachary
yours?
Smith. He's
We're
getting his
good.
master's
You
in
ready?
chemistry. Zachary, what's your question?
Hi, Director Comey. Do you believe that President Trump possesses the moral and mental capacities needed to effectively lead our armed forces, given
He's
his
a doctor now.
unprecedented
that's really
loyalty
his own
pledge, the
personal
general
question.
temperament, and the documented outbursts?
Well, thank you for that question. Really
that
important
sounds
question.
memorized.
10 seconds
It-
just to thank the
Jeez.
students of William and Mary for coming out and for looking so good tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
You're trying to
Oh,
get them
you're
on your
looking
side,
good,
right?
you
No.
sick man.
If they're not on my
Sick
side,
man.
I'm out of luck.
I didn't know we were going to go to the shield
That's a
first
really
question.
important question. And
Oh,
I
crap.
don't have
Okay.
concerns about President Trump's physical
President's-
fitness, whether
Trump's-
he has dementia. I've read stuff like that. I don't buy it. I've dealt with him. He seems to be a person of above average intelligence. My concern is with his moral fitness. I don't believe he's morally fit to be president of the
Well,
United
that
States.
doesn't
And I don't
matter what
I never
you
thought
think
I'd say
of.
that
Yeah,
about a
geez.
president, and I don't say that
Whoa.
lightly. And I
What about
say
your
it
moral
because
fitness?
a person who
Kinda
sees
looking
moral
obese
equivalence
a bit.
across both sides in Charlottesville, who treats and speaks about women like pieces of meat, and who lies constantly about things big and small and insists that we believe the lies, that person's not fit to lead, no less to be the leader of the free world, the president of the United States. And so
Is he
that's
talking
what
about
I believe.
himself
So
right
just to
now?
be specific,
Oh,
you said
the
he's morally and fit,
president. Oh, okay.
to lead the armed forces of the United States? That was his question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Morally unfit to be president of the United States, which includes commander-in-chief responsibilities.
I want to do a quick follow-up. You had opportunities to stand up to President Trump when you were FBI director. When he talked about saying to you, I need loyalty, or you say he said, I need loyalty, when he said, see your way
I
to
bet you
letting
Anderson
Flynn
Cooper
go,
doesn't even need glasses.
why didn't
I
you
bet those are
stand
just
up
glass
to him
lenses.
face to face, speaking truth to power, saying that's inappropriate for you to ask me?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I've asked myself those questions a lot. And I'm sure I
Well,
could
what are
have
the
done
answers
it
you've
better
told your
if
own
I'd been
self?
better
What did
prepared
you
for
answer
those
to yourself?
moments.
Well,
At the
I don't
dinner,
remember what I told
think I did a
myself,
reasonably good
but
job.
I
Again, nothing but silence when he first asked, and then I interjected to try and explain
Then I
the roles.
interject what I believe.
So I
should
held
be
my ground
interjected.
pretty well there.
But you never
then I had to
said,
stop
"That's
myself
inappropriate, sir."
and remind
Not in
myself.
those words, no. I think,
What I
though, by
told
the end of the
myself,
dinner, by the
the
time he
conversation I
asked me
had
the
with
second time,
myself,
a
and
person of his
answered
intelligence
myself.
would know that it was inappropriate to ask that of.
It's like good question there, Coop. I asked myself that. I'm remembering. Oh, well, what did you tell yourself? I don't remember that part, but I do remember
don't
asking
recall.
myself. I'll have to
Good
ask myself
question. What was
again
that?
and see if I can't remind
I'll have
myself.
to.
Because when I talk to myself, this guy, he is truly.
The FBI director?
You said
different. Sorry.
You said you were caught off
Staff in a
guard.
big
The
wizard
first
hat.
time I can
Look at-
understand
he's
being
trying
caught
to
off
weave
guard.
spells.
Once the
Lesser
second
magic.
time, wouldn't you be prepared for him to say something that? I mean, did you not give it any thought about standing up?
Well, no, I didn't expect him, honestly, to come back to it. But even after
I
the
have weak
first ask,
knees.
I interjected. I keep saying that because I
Real
had to
queasy.
interrupt to explain the importance of distance between independence of the Justice Department from the White House and the president. And then when he came back to it the second time.
But when the Flynn thing, that was really the second time he said something that you found objectionable.
Well, that was
right?
kind of an
before the
oops. We
loyalty.
weren't really doing our
it was
job
the
very
second
well.
time that he asked me something, a directive.
See, now look, he's sitting there talking about Trump asking about the loyalty thing, and he tries, and in his own book or in those memos, it shows clearly there's all this context before the loyalty and then after, but he only took that loyalty thing and came out with it. And they're saying, well, damn, in those memos and then in your own book, you kind of elaborated that it meant something different. He's like, wow, but they were able to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what's funny. But he's sitting there talking about, like, I had to explain that there's a big separation of this investigation involving Flynn and the White House and him. That we had to keep that separated. But yet, now we're going to find out that the Obama administration and Comey were working in tandem to do this whole subverting of the FISA and spy, basically, on Trump. And Obama wanted daily updates. Did you tell Obama that? Did you get a little queasy there, Comey?
A little pee-pee come out, a little tinkle-tinkle.
A little tinkle-tinkle come out there, buddy?
Was how I took it. That caught me by surprise. In that circumstance, that's probably the one where there's the fairest criticism that maybe I should have said something in the moment. It honestly didn't occur to me. Instead, I was thinking, I must remember these exact words. And I don't want to be too tough on myself, because honestly, if he didn't know he was doing something he shouldn't do, why did he kick everybody out of the Oval Office to talk to me alone, including my own boss, the Attorney General? So, but that's the area where I think the feedback is fairest.
We got a chance to see the memos that you wrote immediately after these, when they were released, detailing
making sure
your
he's in the
interactions
proper
with President
hand
Trump.
sign
we first
right
got
there.
word of these last year. You had asked a friend to share some of the details from at least one memo.
We want to listen
with
up
the
here,
New York
guys.
Times. I want to go to Evelyn Lawhorn, a senior studying government. Evelyn?
Hi, my question was, do you think that there's any credence to the president's claims that you broke the law when you released your memos?
Yes. I don't.
Do you see how that
won't
doesn't
surprise
sound
you. I
like
don't.
that was
In
from
fact, I
herself,
think he's just
not-
making stuff up. The memos are actually two pieces, and the details matter because the facts matter and should matter even to the president. I sent one memo, unclassified then, still unclassified, and it's recounted in my book, to my friend Dan Richman and asked him to get the substance of it, but not the memo, out to the media. Separately, I wrote a bunch of memos about my interactions with President Trump, and I was what was called an original classification authority at the FBI, meaning I had the training and the authority to make decisions about what should be classified, what shouldn't. Some of those memos I decided should be classified.
So did Hillary.
4 others, I wrote them and was highly confident they should not be classified. Those 4, I kept a copy at the FBI and a copy in my personal safe at home.
That's against the law.
After I was fired,
personal
I put together
After
a
he
team
was
of
fired.
3 people, one of whom was Professor Dan Richman at Columbia University. After
One of your
I had asked him
legal
to give this
leakers?
information to the media, I separately gave my legal team 4 memos, which were unclassified. They included
Now
the one
that's
that he
illegal.
had gotten to give the substance of it to the New York Times. The bottom line is,
New York
I
Times.
see no credible claim by any serious person that violated the law.
Now, listen to
Are you
this.
serious?
Well, look, he's telling you, like, now I was an original classifier. That was Hillary, too. So we got the
Remember,
same
I had
thing
the
where
training.
they look at something that they want to release, like, this probably should be classified, but since I want to release it and I'm a classifier, I'm not going to classify it. Because it ended up coming back, I don't know if he talks about it, that one of those out of the 4 ends up become classified, not secret or at the level of secret, which is the lowest form of classification, right, Ben? So out of those memos that he decided at the time weren't of nothing, they came back behind him and classified one of them to be of secret. But he likes to promote that he's a classifier. Hillary did the same thing. And she argued that there was things that weren't headed right. Like, well, there was no classification marking. Well, you're one of the people that's supposed to do it.
Admitted
You're one of the people that are supposed to do it, Hillary.
training.
And the same thing with Hillary. She sent things, said that they weren't classified, but doesn't like to say that I'm one of them that could classify and I'm supposed to. Like, if I read something, it's like, well, hell, this should have a marking on it, and it doesn't, because that means you're the first person to get it, and you got to make the determination. And you're going to go ahead and pass it acting like it wasn't, and then a year later, this other guy looks at it, and he decides it's secret. Well, what was in there? Stuff about bombings to another country. It's like, well, yeah, that should have been. And why did you should be in trouble if you're a classifier and you fucking mishandle it. You're actually probably supposed to be a little bit more knowledgeable being a classifier. There's only like 18 of them in the whole U.S.
Yeah. Well, this is like when you're in the military, Mike and I talked about this. We have the safety briefings. You got the training. You have all these different trainings. And after you train, most of the time it's on your military jacket, your record that says you have been certified, you have been trained in this. And so if you do it other than what you've been trained for, you're held at 100% accountability, because wait a minute, you were trained how to do this. Look at, signed off here. You have the training. You should know exactly what to do. Comey, Clinton, they both boasted. Hell, I got training on how to be a classifier. I know.
Yeah,
I'm a
Hillary,
smart one.
she would have went through some form of classified and classes when she was first lady in the 90s. So she's been around this. So to act like for this time that this thing that happened in 2010 to 2014 and just act like she tripped and fell and a server got set up and my God, everything was getting transferred over to that. I made a mistake. Didn't know what I was doing. You knew exactly what you're doing. He's got stuff in his personal safe, which they've determined to be wrong as well. You can't do that shit, man. And for anyone else to do it, he'd hammer him to the wall. And the same question, it's that typical thing. He's not going to be like, yeah, no, if anyone else in the FBI would have done that, they'd be wrong. But see, for myself, when I didn't really think of it that way, like everyone else is. I thought about it differently because it was me doing it. So it applies to
I told myself that my personal policies were in line with what I wanted to do. So I
kind of live by my
myself.
own thing and dance to the beat of my own drum, kind of.
Sometimes multiple drums. I don't know.
So let's listen in here a little bit. It's going to get good here in a couple. I don't know if it's after this question, but Anderson Cooper ends up following up, I believe, on this girl's question to hammer him and Comey gets all jarred up. It's awesome. I really enjoy this.
Here's a good thing, though. The Department of Justice is all about accountability. The Department of Justice Inspector General has taken a look at not whether I mishandled classified information, that's frivolous, but whether I complied with the policy as I should in making the memos and in the way I stored them.
But as somebody who has the authority to classify documents, you know that stuff is sometimes retroactively classified, and I believe one of the documents was retroactively classified, lowest level classification, wasn't it?
Sure.
So if you're releasing memos which may later on be classified, which happened to Hillary Clinton as well, aren't you taking a risk? That you think you know, oh, this is not going to be classified, but it turns out one of them was retroactive.
I don't think of it as a risk. You're making an educated judgment based on your training and your
You
experience.
shouldn't leak it all, dickhead.
And what's not.
So, but you did leak memos. I mean, is it okay for somebody at the FBI to leak something, an internal document, even if it's not classified? Isn't that leaking?
Sprinkling in his panties right now.
Question, Anderson. First, I didn't leak.
There's a whole lot wrong.
I asked a friend to communicate the substance of one unclassified memo.
Whether you.
Oh my God! Did you hear him spin that?
To the media, and
We got to hear that again, guys. Listen.
Hillary Clinton as well. Aren't you taking a risk that you think you know, oh, this is not going to be classified, but it turns out one of them was retroactive?
I don't think of it as a risk. You're making an educated judgment based on your training.
Real quick. Head of the FBI has 4 memos. He's a classifier. I want to leak one of these to my buddy. Man, they're not marked yet because I have to do it. All 4 of them are good.
I don't believe
none of them will be
classified.
And he's fucking dead wrong. Somebody a little smarter than him comes along, reclassifies it 6 months later, and he's talking about educated guesses. How about you just don't leak stuff, buddy? How about you just don't take stuff to the media?
Period.
And then you don't have that issue. Well, this is where he's wrong, but he cannot admit it. It kills him to admit. So look at him spin it. This is wizardry, like Ben says.
Training and your experience as to what's classified and what's not.
So, but you did leak memos. I mean, is it okay for somebody at the FBI to leak something, an internal document, even if it's not classified? Isn't that leaking?
Well, there's a whole lot wrong with your question, Anderson. First, I didn't leak memos. I asked a friend to communicate the substance of one unclassified memo.
That's exactly.
Can I finish for a second?
Sure, okay.
One unclassified memo to the media, and I was really important. I was a private citizen. I was not an FBI employee at that time.
But it was an internal document.
Then how did you have access?
You had written while you were FBI director. That is a leak. I mean, if you tell somebody, don't give them the document, but tell them what's in the document, that's still a leak, no?
Well, not to get tangled up in it, I think of a leak as
like
an
your pee-pee, dude. It's leaking right now.
Information.
Really? That's it?
That's how I thought about it as FBI director. We investigated.
Do that again.
I was not an FBI employee at that time.
But it was an internal document. It was a document you had written while you were FBI director. That is a leak. I mean, if you tell somebody, don't give them the document, but tell them what's in the document, that's still a leak, no?
Well, not to get tangled up in it, I think of a leak as an unauthorized disclosure of classified information.
Really? That's it?
That's how I thought about it as FBI director. We investigated leaks, unauthorized disclosures.
In your memo, when you said that when the president said he was eager to find leakers and would like to nail one to the door as a message,
I said that.
Shouldn't you be nailed to the door then? I mean, aren't you a leaker? I mean, you gave up a document that was released to the New York Times, information from that document released to the New York Times. I know you say it's not classified, but plenty of people leak non-classified information to reporters, and the White House and the FBI gets upset about it.
The FBI gets upset when people make unauthorized disclosures of protected information. There was nothing protected about this. It wasn't classified. It wasn't privileged.
So when you were FBI director,
it's also in my book.
Actually.
So when
Also
you were
in my
FBI
book.
Director, if somebody on your team had given a friend documents that they were writing that you were involved with and said, oh, you could just tell the New York Times what's in this document, you wouldn't have had a problem with that?
Well, depending on what was in the document.
Oh.
See, I'm a
Was it
classifier.
protected information? Was it investigative information? Was it classified information? Was it grand jury information?
So I guess I'm surprised that you only think leaks, officially a leak is something that's classified.
Yeah, the reason I hesitate is that's how I think about it as a lawyer and as the director of the FBI. In practice, the term gets applied to a broad range of things, so I totally get it.
Oh, in practice,
I intentionally gave this information to a friend, intending that it be out in the media.
I intentionally gave it to a friend.
That's exactly what
leakers
leakers
do.
do.
Could do that and did that, just as I've written about it in my book.
All right.
You're a midnight leaker.
Why?
You're a liar.
Why would he say, yeah, I don't know.
My
Well, I
intentions
don't know what a
are not
leaker
covered.
does, but what I did was intentionally get something to a friend so he can get it out into the media. That's what every leaker does.
I didn't.
They want
give
something
him
to
the
get on the
paper,
media.
But I told him the substance. I mean, you guys understand when we point out these people that they're like wizards and
And then he
witches
stands
and
behind
warlocks, and
like you made a decision and then you leaked this. Well, again, Cooper, we disagree on what leaking is, but yeah, I took that from the FBI and I gave it to a friend. You're using the word leak. I'm saying I took it, gave it to somebody, but whatever. There's that wizardry, and then it's like, well, that ended up being classified. Not at the time I did it, but you were one of the
Now,
people that
I
should
was a
have been able to.
classifier.
So did you make a wrong mistake then? If you're one of the persons that classify, you're an actual classifier. Yeah, I mean, we roll the dice, and sometimes we're wrong, and it's like. So does he take comfort? He takes comfort. Like, I got that out well before it was ever classified. They ended up doing it 6 months later. Now they can do that. They did that just to make me look bad because I had already got it out there. Like, he can argue that fact that they only classified it that way.
It's in my book, actually.
It's in my book, chapter 8, if you want really to get into it.
It's
I think it goes a little bit into chapter 9. You just read the whole thing.
Just read the whole thing.
You might want to buy 2 books.
I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, because remember, I my definition and your definition are very different. So you have to get my book so you understand my definition of how I direct.
That's what he always says. It. He's like, if you really get into the mind of me. So if you read my book, you'll kind of, I really started out in the prelude into chapter 1. You're going to kind of be in the shoes of me. You're going to be feeling my pain.
When I was a child,
you might even want to keep some Tums
world.
by your bed because your stomach might get a little churny. And
churny. A little bit of muck butt coming out the back end from your.
You want to talk about DC swamp? I had swamp ass after reading that book, and
and it was back talking big time.
A little back talk.
You're seeing it so overtly. I mean, you got a Vanderbilt heir, Anderson Cooper, is his name, doing his things.
Yeah.
And they're all telling you about, well, I think a leaker. Now, this is the thing. When your tire leaks air, now, do you not care because you don't identify a leak from your tire unless it comes out of the stem of the fill? And if it doesn't come from the stem, then it's not considered a leak. Like, wow, but it's losing air pressure. It's leaking. That's not considered a leak technically in my book. It's like, he's thinking that we are so incredibly dumb that he uses very eloquent words. These kind of people
like,
tell you lies that you regurgitate the next day.
You can tell Cooper, or he got him off kilter.
He did. He threw a little curveball, which is interesting.
I know you say it's not classified, but plenty of people leak non-classified information to reporters, and the White House and the FBI gets upset about it.
The FBI gets upset when people make unauthorized disclosures of protected information. There was nothing protected about this. It wasn't classified. It was't privileged.
So when you were FBI
hold on,
director,
it's also in my book.
So when you were FBI director, if somebody on your team had given
oh my God, they should burn that book.
They were writing that you were.
You want to burn the book?
Said,
Start with that one.
Just tell the New York Times what's in this document. You wouldn't have had a problem with that.
It would depend on what was in the document.
But even if it's not
was it protected
classified?
information? Was it investigative information? Was it classified information? Was it grand jury information?
So
it was classified.
I guess I'm surprised.
It was classified. Well, after the fact, Cooper.
Retro.
Arguing goddamn semantics.
The reason I hesitate is that's how I think about it as a lawyer and as the director of the FBI. In practice, the term gets applied to a broad range of things, so I totally
And
get
that's
it.
what happened. This was
I
practice.
intentionally gave this information to a friend, intending that it be out in the media.
Intending.
I wanted it to get out in the media.
Right.
As a private citizen, I could do that and did that, just as I've written about it in my book.
As a private citizen, but the only reason you have that information is from your time in the rank and file.
She's a senior studying history. And by the way, I should also point out, you're going to be co-teaching a course here at William and Mary in the fall.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, like I'm going to go to his class.
Good evening.
Lying.
With the recent release of your memos, do you still think that you are suitable to teach a course on ethics and leadership, and why?
I do. For the reasons I said.
I do.
The facts
I do.
really
I
matter,
do. The facts
and I believe
really
that I
matter
acted
here.
appropriately, and I handled the memos appropriately, created them for an important and appropriate purpose. So
I'm lying right now.
This
You
is
can't
him.
tell.
Look. And the facts matter here. I really feel like I did the right thing, and I feel like I did the right thing with that paperwork by getting it out in the public.
A lot of,
but a jury
individual
of 12 people, sir, found you not, and a bunch of other people. Again, that's what I felt, and and that's fine. You can think that all the way down until he gets put behind bars, and he'll be on the inside of the bars, being like, I still feel like I should be free, and I didn't do anything, and
and everybody else in this place.
Yeah. This guy it's a sad day for him. This girl asked the very right question here.
Just of him being completely lying. He's forcing emotional answers to her. See right there, he's got flat, he's defensive. Look at his eye.
I've written about it in my book.
All right.
In my book.
The
My
next
book.
question comes
My
from
book.
Victoria Lopez. Victoria is she's a senior studying history. And by the way,
Come
I should
on,
also point
Vanderbilt,
out, you're
spit
going to
it
be
out.
teaching a course here at William and Mary in the fall.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Cool. Victoria.
Yes.
Good evening. With the recent release of your memos, do you still think that you are suitable to teach a course on ethics and leadership, and why?
I do, for the reasons I said. I mean, the facts really matter, and I
here it
believe that I
comes.
acted appropriately, and I handled the memos appropriately, created them for an important and appropriate purpose. So I really don't see, and I'd be happy to debate it with anybody. We can debate it in my class, because my mind is open to other points of view, but I don't see it, honestly.
I want to ask you something else that was in the memos. It was revealed the president, in a conversation with you, according to you, made a joke about how journalists might change their minds about revealing their sources if they spend a night in jail. You laughed in response. What's funny about jailing journalists?
Nothing. I laughed to make it clear that was a joke.
Oh,
I
okay.
laughed to
My
make
way
it
of
clear.
communicating.
See, that's
He
my
must be
way.
kidding.
Like he must
Okay,
be
because a
kidding.
lot of other people might have
Question
took it
is
this
from
way.
Julia
Yeah, and they'd
Rich.
all
She's
be
a junior
wrong.
who's studying English, and she has a question about some of the allegations in the Steele dossier.
Okay.
Hi. What do you think would happen if there were so-called P tapes and they were leaked to the public tomorrow? Would
That
it
girl
matter
doesn't
in
know
the
what
long
P
run?
tapes are. Oh my gosh.
That's a question that, first, I'm not going to say that word. That's a question
see?
that you're as qualified to answer as I.
You're as qualified
I
as
suppose it
answer?
might
What?
matter in the long
Whoa.
run to the extent it casts embarrassment and shame upon the leader of our country.
Like you did?
But you'll be able to judge that better than I.
Oh, really? So now
You
her
also said
judgment's
in your
better than
memos that
yours.
The president told you twice that he did not spend the night in Moscow around the Miss Universe pageant. Since then, flight records, social media posts, congressional testimony, also photographs prove that he actually did spend the night in Moscow. Do you think it's significant that the president lied to you twice about that?
It's always significant when someone lies to you, especially about something you're not asking about. It tends to reflect
I should be the one
consciousness of
lying. Don't
guilt,
you
as we would
understand,
say in law
Cooper?
enforcement.
You've noticed that in past interactions as a prosecutor, if someone's lying about stuff you haven't asked about, that's a tell?
Right, two tells. If they bring things up you didn't ask about, and if they bring it
Like
up
your
and make
book.
a false statement about it, It's
My
not
book
definitive,
covers
but it
this in
certainly
chapter 9.
makes you very concerned about what might be going on there.
Sounds like President Trump did that a lot of times with you, brought up stuff that you haven't asked about.
Correct. And again, I don't know what was in his head. I don't know whether he was intentionally misstating a fact to me or maybe...
Well, how would you know that he's lying if you didn't ask the question? He's like, yeah, I never stayed in Moscow. And then you don't know that he did or not because you didn't ask. And then what, you race home and investigate it to come back and be like, he lied.
Maybe he stayed outside the Moscow city limits, just right outside of Moscow in the higher rise. And he's like, well, you didn't ask the right question. Remember, we know.
And like Cooper just said, he's like, so he did this a lot. Told you things about things you didn't ask. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Well, how do you know if he was lying on things you didn't ask and you didn't know the truth answer to? Did you look into everything the president told you that you didn't ask? Was that how much you're investigating? You do that all the time, Comey. Anyone you meet and they just tell you like, I just got from the store. Oh, interesting. And then you go make sure you get with the store, check their surveillance photos. Like, he didn't come to the store. Liar.
Store? Yeah, it's almost
do
like
this with your neighbors. You just kind of question everything, and people are telling you things that you didn't ask. Yeah, so I mowed my yard this morning. Why are you telling me that? I didn't ask you. What's going on? Did you really mow your yard this morning? Makes me think.
I need to mow my yard because you just mowed yours, and you're trying to subversively get me to mow your yard. I mean, think about this. If our commander-in-chief already knew that he was a dirty man, it's called disinformation. It's 101 on how to... trim the fat, if you will.
Yeah. Do a few more seconds of this.
He didn't stay overnight, but he definitely said that.
Next question is from Carl Friedrichs.
These are all planned because look, right before that girl, Cooper's like, by the way, and you're going to be teaching at here in the fall for and then he goes, yeah, and then they go to that girl and she happened to ask a question about teaching. Because otherwise, the question wouldn't have made sense to everybody if Anders.
They've been standing there. There's a whole bunch of people in line. They're standing for a long, long time until it's question time, and they're the next one. They're the next one. You guys got to understand how this stuff works.
Yeah. And they're not even probably trying to hide it for this. Like it'd probably be known.
Look, they got little things written down. I have a question. I can remember my.
Yeah, it's been approved. He's reading it.
Trump so reluctant to criticize Russia. Do you think it might be proof that Russian organized crime money has been laundered through Trump's businesses?
I don't know.
Manufactured question. This guy's a CIA op right there.
Look at him.
Little shield bag.
That the president was
reluctant
reluctant to
shielding real
criticize
quick.
President Putin in public, and then I was very struck that he was a.
He's like, oh, cool. Marty's up for the question. I can really use
Sweet, you got
real.
Frank's question, and let me tell you about this whole thing. I've been practicing here.
Being in all your glory that you are, I was just curious. What were you thinking about Trump and his, is he mind ready to be president or, I think he's really mentally unfit, but,
See, and they try, this is another thing too, is a great point. They try to make this seem organic, but what you have to realize is in the Hollywood scene, everything that you see and everything that you hear has been passed through a team of people that has been screened, rescreened. Everything on the stage is set a certain way. You have no idea the production level when you watch an Anderson Cooper show and these questions. Almost all of the questions are manufactured, pre-approved, and the ones that are not are the ones that are not reading from a script. And then it's like, okay, well, you only have to ask about this. So this is where some of the questions are planned. Because remember, Anderson Cooper, heir to the Vanderbilt fortune, he's taken. He's deep state. Mother of that's what his mom was. I mean,
look at a video we got out about a year and a half.
So if he's already taken, sold his soul, run the Satan train, what they're trying to do is give the illusion that Cooper's the good guy. He's for the people. But so is Comey. Comey is doing the right thing, and he's for the people too. And they're having a good, honest conversation about doing it for the people. And he's an expert in his field. And Comey, because he's a classifier and he's had training, he's an expert. He's not a leaker. He disseminates bodies of content to friends, to the public, but no leaking.
Yeah,
you're seeing what's happening here.
Fill out cards. Yeah, no, it's wasn't Anderson Cooper a CIA agent? Yes. That's the going. If you dig a little bit, you'll find some pretty skeptical things. We're pretty sure he went to the CIA school, and instead of being the traditional, CIA field agent with a gun and go look into this and screw around over here, you're going to work in our media department. we got you a show lined up with one of our affiliates over at CNN. You're going to have a prime time slot.
Your mom got you a great spot.
Yeah, Cooper works with Secure Drop. They get these drops once a week. Money goes to offshore accounts that he has. He gets the information for the week that he's to promote. Get a hold of these people, try to get these people on throughout the week. He calls these certain shills that are lined up, and he gets lined up for little interviews and to get their word out. And that's a really scripted plan.
Finely tuned, very oiled machine of propaganda. Yeah, and money's no object. These people have access to.
The CIA knows that's a very valuable weapon. Not only is having agents out and doing this and that around town and around the world, it was to control media and do Operation Mockingbird, and to control the media, the narrative. That's very powerful. So of course they're not. Oh, they used to do that in the 50s and 60s. Well, they're really good at it now. So don't think like, oh, they did that, they got busted, and now they're out of the mix. They don't mess with that no more. No, they are here, stronger than ever, better than ever. So, all right, there's enough of that Comey stuff. We will probably shut this down. We're at the over 2 hours. What a great morning show. I've got some other stuff I need to get on to doing here this morning. 10 o'clock, yeah, a little after 10. So, what'd you think, Ben? Pretty crazy. We kind of exposed Comey for his true colors and all his glory, and you guys make your own decision up on that.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes, Mike and I do the Space Science 3000 theater commentaries of these things. We're sitting there and we're doing ad lib on these little tiny clips that Mike pulls up, because we do want you to understand, man. This is so prevalent. And it's so in your face, and most people never quite realize it. So when we break down, like Comey, like we call him a wizard, because wizards, we call it lesser magic. It's using words to manipulate your thoughts and your minds, and the same thing. Like it's the same idea when we're talking about my opinions on Ballsy Ford. It's your optics. It's how they're trying to control how you view the situation, and if you. It's like your kid lies to you. I didn't pee on the toilet seat, because he doesn't want to admit that. He doesn't want that's you gotta go clean it up. But when I walk in, I'm like, dude, you pissed all over the toilet, man. Come on, you need to aim better this time. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm like, no, you didn't. You didn't forget. And it's the same idea. These people, what they're trying to do, it's like I didn't know. Well, didn't you have the classification training? One of a few people in the entire United States of America who had that job? Well, I thought at the time in mine, do you see how it's all manipulation? It's all trying to, they're making you feel sorry for them.
Well, and time again, like you said, Ben, it's like in the movie Casino. I like to, he's firing that cousin's brother that worked for him, and he's like, either he was in on it, or he was too stupid to realize that he was getting taken by these scam artists that came into the casino to rob his table or the jackpot machine. He's either too stupid or he was in on it. Either way, I can't have him working here. Because if he was in on it, I don't want him here. And if he's too stupid to realize it was happening, we don't need him here.
Don't want him here.
So that works the same for these same people that have had all the training at the heads of these agencies to try to act like they're going to get out of what that just hugely happened because of their thought pattern didn't, match up, or they thought they were doing the right thing. And in my eyes, I believed I was doing the right thing the whole time as I did this. Well, 562 other people don't. Well, I'm sorry that 562 of you heard me wrong or saw me or took it to be that way. That's you right there. You're dealing with a huge narcissistic scumbag, and most likely you're not going to change his opinions as some 50, 60-year-old man at that point in his life that's that narcissistic. That's just what they think. So, all right, we'll leave it at that. Be another one. Well, it is Friday, folks. We don't really do these live ones on the weekends. This is a Monday through Friday type thing. But look for more maybe later on this afternoon, another live show around lunchtime, traffic jam, something. But we'll definitely be back, and look for something to drop on the Patriot Hour. Great morning. Had under 200 in the whole time. How awesome. That's great for this channel. So doesn't really matter to us.
We're super excited, man. No,
we want to make sure you guys are finding us. That's all.
Yeah, God bless. Godspeed, you guys. Have a wonderful Friday, knowing that our freedoms are still intact and rolling into the weekend. You know, take care of yourselves and your family members. And yeah, we'll keep on getting content out. At least you guys have a schedule, or at least this first week we've kind of gotten into this. And so we're hoping to kind of keep up this momentum and maintain this schedule for as long as we can.
Heck yeah. All right, brother.
It was a pleasure. God bless you
Patriots.
guys.
God bless all the Patriots. And thanks for joining in again, folks. We really, really enjoy it. And we'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour update, which will be coming here soon, later today. And look for possibly another live show later this afternoon.
Here to give you an update on the FBI's investigation of Secretary Clinton. What I want to do is tell you what we're recommending. But first, let me tell you what we found. 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret, 36 of those chains secret, and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
Everything I did was permitted. There was no law, no regulation.
Secretary Clinton should have known that an unclassified system was no place for that conversation.
I did not email any classified material to anyone on my email.
None of these emails should have been on any kind of unclassified system, not even Gmail.
Well, first of all, nothing was marked classified.
To the contrary.
Nothing was marked classified.
There is evidence.
Nothing was marked classified.
Now let me tell you what we found. 110 emails.
It was not the best choice.
52 email chains.
It was a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top secret.
Was the best choice.
36 of those chains
I said
secret.
it was a mistake.
And 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?
With respect to our recommendation, this is going to be an unusual statement in at least a couple of ways. Although there is evidence, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. I know there will be intense public debate. What difference at this point does it make? 110 emails.
It wasn't the best choice.
52 email chains.
I made a mistake.
Have been determined to contain classified information.
What difference at this point does it make?
8 of those chains are top
It was not a good choice.
36 of those chains
I said it was a mistake.
and 8 contain confidential information.
What difference at this point does it make?